I am Tyson,
I'm Jordan. We're from Slow Down Molasses.
and you are watching Toasted.
Hey guys, welcome to Reykjavik.
Thanks for having us, or it's great to be here.
It's not my city either.
I guess maybe it's not your city, but it's so crazy great to be here.
How was the gig? You played a gig yesterday, right?
Yes, we played at Gurikin. My pronunciation.
Go,
Right.
yeah, something like that. Gokure?
Right.
Yeah, it
My
looks like
pronunciation
Gherkin.
is terrible. It was a fantastic show, though. It was sold out and wonderful, and we played with some really cool bands, and so we had a great time, yeah.
Tonight, again, I mean, this place is, I've been here for a couple of days, and to me, it's weird that if you're not here, it's a bar, and upstairs there's like this small room, and they found actually a really small space for a band to play, and some killer bands have been on, actually.
Yeah, it seems we when we got here on Friday, we were walking down the street and like, oh, that's the venue, and went and checked it out, and it's a rad space. Like I've been saying for a while, it seems like this tour for this band, the stuff that works great is either a huge festival stage or like a sketchy basement or something like that. Of like, it's so much fun to play those like packed, cramped little things where we're bouncing off each other and whatnot. And this looks like it's going to be that kind of show, which is awesome because last night was in a good club with a nice big stage. So this is a good counterbalance where we can get a little bit. I was going to say a little bit sweaty, but it's like last night was a bloody sweaty.
Oh, I love these small shows in these red cages, like you said. Hey, new album out, 100% Sunshine. To be honest, it got me totally off guard.
That's excellent. That was sort of the intent. I think a lot. We've been around for 10 years, and the sound has changed quite a lot. And the last record, I think, was the first one that we felt was a concise, focused thing, and it was good. I'm really happy with it. But this kind of took it to another level where it's the same lineup that toured the last record as this one, whereas previously it was a lot of changing membership and that sort of thing. And we definitely wanted to have it hit a bit harder than some of our previous stuff. And seems like people are reacting to it that way. So I'm happy with it anyway. People seem to be excited.
Must have been quite a production, actually, to do this. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we sort of maybe not took our time. I know Tyson's quite good at making sure things are kind of moving along to schedule, but we took time and just kind of wrote together, which I had never done with the band, and I've only been with them for a couple of years, but we did that and then demoed it properly in his garage, and then the next step, and then went, actually really only a few blocks away, theoretically speaking, in the city to record it, and then so it was kind of a logical progression, and it came together pretty quick, I think, all things considered. So, yeah, it was kind of surprising, I guess, considering that none of us had ever really written together. But it was, it was a pretty positive experience.
For me, it was a pretty positive experience listening. First, I was going through the music, and I just was like cherry picking. And the first thing, of course, that I did was to get Terminator 3 versus Amon, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding!"
Yeah, that's yeah. It's often funny where we tend to be mildly sardonic in our sense of humor and our interaction with each other, and naming songs is always ridiculous, where it ends up being something dumb, offensive, or mocking of another band member.
Yeah, but the song is great.
Oh, that's great. I thought you were talking about the song title because it's
The title caught me completely off guard, and I was like, "Well, this has got to be a joke." And listen to it, like this is actually really deep.
Sweet. Yeah, no, it's I'm really excited about that song because I historically been the primary songwriter, and Aaron Scholes, who played drums before Jordan played, then he couldn't make a tour, and he got Jordan to play drums on that tour, and then secretly his plan was that he wanted to play guitar, and so he started playing guitar after that and started bringing songs to the band, and in him, it's been amazing writing with him because it's so easy and it's so intuitive, and we play off each other really well, and that was one where he brought to the band, and the first time we jammed it, essentially I arranged a structure for it, and then we played off that, and then wrote it in this, essentially like just jammed it in the studio and chopped it up a little bit, and then
I love how the hi-hat again gets me off guard. It's like, this is somebody missing a beat, what the fuck? And then it's like, no, still on the beat, and then again, and it kind of drags on, and it's
the drums on it especially are something.
must be a pain in the ass to drum, actually.
Not too much. I kind of enjoy that. I mean, I was really just sort of channeling a bit of a Death Cab for Cutie moment and trying to come flow in and out of a beat. But it's really just such a short song that it or is it? Maybe it's longer than I remember on the record than it is live.
I think on the record it's only about 2 minutes long, but live we've played it for 7 minutes or something like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I think we've got a live recording of it from Berlin that I still have to listen to. That at some point might see the light of day.
Actually, there was a question: do you record your stuff live? I'm glad you do.
This album, we put a lot of effort into making sure that we could do it live, because more than anything, this captures a lot more of the live energy of the band, which previously didn't necessarily come through. Half the band grew up on punk rock and came up through playing in noise punk bands and stuff like that. So we really wanted to make sure it had some of that energy, which is what we play on stage. And so we recorded as much as possible live, then did a few overdubs, but for the most part, it was just get in the room and make some noise.
Big sound. How did you create it? Was it the producer who created the sound, or did you guys like played in, I don't know, 20 guitars or?
Shocking, yeah. Previous records, I would routinely play 6 guitar tracks on every song or every other song, whereas this record, it's actually the most concise, despite also sounding the biggest, where for the most part, it's just the 3 guitars, each of us get one line kind of thing. It was really deliberately trying to arrange it so that we did the most we could with what we were doing and didn't make it ridiculous. But then we recorded it with our good friend Barrett Ross, who has the best gear collection of anybody in Saskatchewan, where we're from. And then we sent it over to Glasgow for Tony Dugan to mix at Castle of Doom. And a lot of that, I knew I really wanted to work with him because he does weird stuff, but also at the same time as having those weird elements and noisy elements, he makes these massive rock records that if you peel away a few things, he could be making like stadium rock records kind of thing. He'd probably hate me for saying that, but like he makes the songs sound huge, and that's kind of, we were playing them with that intent and arranged them with that intent, and then he lived up to every expectation and just made it this massive thing.
You guys get lumped in with Sonic Youth a lot, and maybe that's true for the previous records, but this one, I thought, only a couple of things came to mind. Ministry featuring Dick Dale, featuring, of course, Spiritualized is, I think, a spot on one. But and I don't like to compare bands because I think it's bullshit. But I mean, the sound did progress a lot.
Definitely, like as I said, like just the amount we've toured in the last few years, and just this lineup coming together, where it just is. We all like fairly different stuff. Like Jordan actually plays in kind of indie folk kind of pop band and has toured with Andy Schaaf and people like Teen Days, and so and then like Aaron grew up on just noise punk kind of thing, and same with Chris, and so it's amazing to me how easy it is to write with this band and perform, where everyone plays off each other really well, and it kind of, even when I try really hard to rip off Swerve Driver or Sonic Youth or something like that, they play something completely different, and I don't have to worry about if it sounded too much like something I was loving at the moment.
Hey, I read that the band used to be a 14-piece band at a certain point in time. Is that like, I mean, that must have been only like for a gig probably. Or
yeah, like there was a record where 14 people played on it, and I think we did a couple shows where there was 11 or so people. I started the band solo with the deliberate intent of being able to play with a lot of people. Saskatoon, where we're from, has an amazing music scene, and there's a lot of people I'm just a fan of and one to collaborate with, and one to have the opportunity to call up buddies and say, hey, come and play cello or violin or trumpet or whatever. And so it started that, where I was writing a lot more kind of hazy folk songs in the vein of Moabe 3 or something like that, or some of the quieter Spiritualized stuff. And so yeah, we had some pretty indulgent studio moments and indulgent stage moments, which were good fun, but now eventually we realized I could just have 3 delay pedals and a few more fuzz pedals and make it sound equally as huge.
And it is huge. Hey, there's a lot of ghosts on this record. Castle of Doom, where the mix happened. Then we have You Made Me a Ghost and Ghosts and Vodka.
What's with you and ghosts?
The ghosts slip in somewhere.
Yeah, I don't. It is a bit of a haunted record. A lot of thematically, it's funny that I was explaining to the guys what I was writing about, and I think all of them were just like, I don't really get that kind of thing, because it's a pretty harrowing kind of stuff that I'm writing about, of watching watching friends deal with some pretty serious demons, and sort of seeing that in society and that sort of thing. And so a lot of it is it's probably our bleakest lyrical record, but on first listen, or if you're in the room jamming with us, it definitely doesn't have that same energy. So it is kind of playing with the energy of the ghosts in the room kind of thing.
I think it's a very well layered record, very diverse, and at the end I came to the conclusion, like, this is the music I actually want to listen to myself, you know.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, because that's at the end of the day, like we it's always, we fight with it a bit, because it does kind of what we write from different perspectives kind of thing. So it ends up not being a straight concise record where every song kind of, if you hear two songs, you know it's us kind of thing. And I know there's been a couple of reviews that were critical of it being too diverse. And I know Aaron especially was just like, well, that's just dumb. Like, we don't, I get bored kind of thing. And we like lots of different stuff. Like, so it's hard to contain that. And I'd rather it be a bit of a journey kind of thing.
It's been a long time since I listened to a proper album.
Oh, that's fantastic of you to say.
Yeah,
like,
thank you.
I think all of us, like, I know it's funny, we were on tour recently, and Aaron just put on playlists for the entire drive because he was driving, and halfway through I was like, I can't deal with this. I don't listen to records. I don't listen to music like this. And it is a thing where I'm thinking of, like, if we were to want to be rational and, like, make sure our hype continues and that sort of thing, we probably wouldn't make sense to put out albums, but I don't know if I'd like that. And it's not like we're going to make a ton of money off this anyway, so it's kind of like we might as well be doing something that we're actually really excited about. And so we're all, like, record junkies and that sort of thing. So it was just like, I'm not going to go and just put out one song kind of thing. I want a physical record that I have, then no matter what happens with it, at least I've got that kind of thing.
We had a great time playing at End of the Road Festival in the UK about 2 months ago, and it was probably the closest that I've ever been to something like that. Just an enormous production, and 1,000 of people around, and it was kind of strange, and I felt a little out of place. Like, who are we to be up here, sort of thing. But I think it also kind of felt oddly at home, like especially with the new record, we sort of are able to fill that huge space, and so who knows? Yeah, it'd be the nice balance to something like this with the 15 people upstairs or however many we're gonna fit. So
You said in an interview, one of you guys, that this is the best year ever for the band. Is it true, and why is it?
We're in Iceland. We're a bunch of skids from small towns in Saskatchewan. Like, whereas our city is as isolated in the world as Reykjavik, I think. I was chatting with somebody yesterday, and I was like, it is actually, like, it's 3,000 kilometers to Toronto, it's 2,000 kilometers to Vancouver, and there is no music. There's fantastic bands, but there's no labels that are going to sign us in our province. There's no publicists. There's no booking agents. So we've been over in Europe, played on the Road Festival, we're artists in residence at Incubate, I've, like, done CMJ and all that sort of stuff, and it's just like, I didn't play guitar till I was 18, and I never thought I'd play in an actual band that I'd like, let alone fly over to Europe a couple times, fly to Iceland for 4 days to play a couple of sold-out shows. So, yeah, can't complain much at all.
What will 2017 bring for you guys?
That's a very good question. We sort of have this running idea that things might slowly sort of slow down a little bit, or kind of see what happens. Family is on the radar for you, and I think we've lost a couple members in the last year, just moving and getting settled and starting families. So it might be a quieter year, but I know we'll all be very eager to play if opportunities come up as well.
This record needs to be toured, man.
Yeah, like, we're always up for anything, and I think it is going to be a bit quieter year, but at the same time, we've toured a lot this year and last year, which has meant that all our free time when we were home was writing and recording this record. And I know I've got ideas in my mind for a few different recording projects and whatnot, so even if we can't tour that much, I'm pretty sure we'll be releasing stuff fairly consistently throughout the year, and seeing where it goes. Like, the music industry is such a ridiculous, weird thing that, especially where we're not in a big city where just somebody can casually see us, that will do something huge for us. So it's we're always keeping our options open, but we definitely won't be going away or anything like that.
So it's going to be a good year. Hey, thanks so much for your time, guys, and have a great show.
Sweet. Thanks for chatting.